Hi, everyone. Welcome. We are with Astrology Victoria. My name is Dulcie Cardinal, and I'm here with my co-host,
Tatiana Hassan. Very much excited to be here to be talking for ANN, and we totally are so grateful for this invitation. So thanks to Ren Butler and James Moran, not only for putting so much effort in this channel, for having so many amazing presentations, and then having us here. It's an enormous honor. So thank you so much. And Dulcie, what are we going to talk today?
Yes. We have a new moon solar eclipse coming up shortly. So we're going to take apart that transit and discuss what it's going to mean for us as individuals and on a collective level as well.
Wonderful, Dulcie. So let's pull up the slideshow and we'll get going. So this is a new moon, and like any new moons signal a point of a beginning, where a cycle begins again. And when the new moon occurs near the nodes, then these are eclipses. So this new moon is particular because it's an eclipse. And as much as we will like take apart all the aspects archetypally speaking, it is very important to also mention that it is an eclipse nonetheless. So Dulcie, do you want to shortly kind of briefly show why this is an eclipse?
Yeah, so this is showing from our perspective here on Earth. It shows how the sun and the moon seemingly go around us. We know that the sun does not go around us. It's us who goes around the sun. But from our perspective, this is what it looks like. And so the path of the sun around the Earth is called the ecliptic. And the moon follows along that ecliptic kind of, but a little bit differently. And so the path that the two take and when they can join, the place where they can join in the sky is where there's a node. So there's the north node and the south node, as you can see on the top and the bottom here. So when they come together, they will block one or the other. So for a new moon, the moon blocks the sun and it's a solar eclipse. And for a full moon, the Earth's shadow blocks the light of the moon, and it becomes a lunar eclipse.
Yeah, the sun. Yeah. So it's yeah, wonderful. So yeah, so this is exactly what's happening. So our new moon, when we have the sun and the moon aligned together in a conjunction, and then as we can see, the moon is, like Dulcie very well said, it's blocking the rays of the sun. Therefore, there is this like sense of something going dark, and this has also its archetypal meaning as well, or it's symbolic meaning. So in an eclipse, usually the area of life where this eclipse occurs is almost like taking the energy down and turning the lights out. And when something's taken down, then there is a possibility to review that what has been taken away, because by contrast, or whatever is then seen in the opposite end, will show us when something's taken away, we can actually see why we cared about it, why we're attached to it, or what it is even. So it almost brings that, yeah, when something's taken away, we're like, we miss it, right? And then we can give it importance and then see whether or not it's something that is still required in our life or needs to go away. So that's like the symbolic meaning, like to briefly say about this eclipse. However, we're going to also take apart all the archetypal meaning of all the aspects happening at the same time in this new moon.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Do you want to say anything else about this one, Dulcie?
Sure, we've been having eclipses on the Gemini-Sagittarius axis for a bit under a couple of years, and they are about to move into Taurus and Scorpio. So this eclipse will be the last eclipse on the Gemini-Sagittarius axis, and it will be happening in Sagittarius. So it's kind of like a wrap up of all of those events.
Mm-hmm. So it's the Sagittarius energy, a little bit to bring what the flavor of this raw energy is. It's the energy that connects us to truth, whatever truth is, or personal truth, higher meaning and purpose. It's what's beyond as well, is the openness and the vast horizons beyond, where we can explore new frontiers. Is always the new frontier of exploration. That's basically like the energy of the Sagittarius. So that's why we talk about philosophy and religion in Sagittarius. There's always a quest for meaning that gives our lives meaning. Whenever we have a belief system, it gives a context to our lives. And that's the Sagittarius energy in itself, represented by Jupiter, which is the ruler of Sagittarius. So yeah, Dulcie, do you want to make any other comments on this one?
Yeah, I see Sagittarius as kind of reaching beyond what one already knows. We have our basic learning with Gemini. We understand the world around us in our communities, but Sagittarius is more about what is beyond that point. Where can we go explore, whether it's in our minds or in the world or through books? What can we explore further beyond that point? And words that are associated with Sagittarius often are words like freedom and optimism, exploration, enthusiasm, change, things like that. So with this new moon happening in Sagittarius, we'll be reflecting on themes like this.
And also to note that this eclipse is a south node eclipse. So the south node is in Sagittarius, which in traditional astrology and evolutionary astrology has a big meaning, which would be like what we already know, what's been done there. You know, we've been in this energy for a while, and we need to move past or beyond it to reach for something different. Evolutionary speaking, is like a push. So when it happens near the south node, well, there's something that needs maybe revamping, complete revamping. And in Sagittarius is all the themes around belief systems, precisely whatever these may be. Beliefs about, it's not necessarily only religion or religious beliefs. It can be what we believe about anything. And that's going to be put into question. So let's build up. Yeah, and Sagittarius also has, I was going to say something about not only just the freedom and the search for truth or personal truth. Yes, that's what I was going to say. It's like your personal truth. Sagittarius is very much also the teacher that has found something by experience, not by reading or learning necessarily, but by pure experience. You know, you burn yourself, you got the experience, then you can teach others. I burn myself, you know, that's a little bit of the Sagittarian energy as well. So this is what we're going to have. This is a chart for our new moon.
Yeah.
What do we see first? What is the first thing that just jumps out of the chart?
So exactly what we've been talking about here. As you can see, the sun and the moon are conjoined at 12 degrees of Sagittarius. And the reason we're saying it's an eclipse is because they are so close to that node, that south node right beside them. Something with finding my mouse. Here we go. Okay. Right next to them on the left is the south node here, which is why it's an eclipse. Whenever we have the lunations near the a node. That's what makes it an eclipse. And with new moons, it's the beginning of something. It's the planting of a seed. So this will be sort of something that is Sagittarian in your life, relating to your belief systems, what whether you're traveling, whether you're in university or in a religion, or you are studying something for fun or for academic purposes, whatever it is. These kind of themes will be highlighted over the next few months, and you're kind of in a transition phase regarding these kind of themes. You could be letting go of some of these philosophies and recognizing new ones. You could be more open to other people's ideas and belief systems. You could see them from a new perspective and understand potentially why they believe these things. Yeah, what would you like to say, Tatiana?
Well, with Mercury also in this conjunction, in a conjunction, the energy could go either way, because it could be amplified. So Mercury's energy, which is like the mind, communication, what we think, and this is literally what we think and what we believe. So the mind is going to be very active as well. And like you said, it could be like new ideas or ideals. Sagittarius also is about ideals or ideologies. So what new ideals are we moving towards that might change our life completely? And conversely, we might be open to people's points of view, but conversely, we could be very attached to our own point of view as well. So attached that we're going to just speak our truth and only our truth. And maybe this could have either a positive or negative impact. If we're too attached to it, then we might see that maybe it doesn't serve us. Or if we're needing to have something that resonates better as truth, then that's what we're going to convey. And it doesn't have to be in a negative way. It could be just more like assertive, like it could be like sharing these ideas with others, and then recognizing them. Oh, this is my truth. This is what I truly believe. Or, again, or it could be the opposite. I get so much in my own point of view that I refuse to see. So whichever this will mean for you, whichever or whatever this will show up in your life as, it's inviting us. It's the invitation is always to look at that theme. And I can tell you a little story. This is an anecdote, and it's just like, I was like, oh, how appropriate. I was yesterday at the hairdresser, and she's cutting my hair, and then she asks me if I believe in God or a higher power, and I'm like, oh. And I say, well, yes, I do believe there's something higher that rules our whole creation. And then I asked her, like, what do you believe? And she starts telling me how she used to be into spiritual practices of the New Age and crystals and, tarot and all these things. And then suddenly she just found Jesus. And then she completely abandoned all of that. And she was saying, well, Jesus is the way. And I find that I wanted to understand why Jesus is God. And I now know that Jesus is the way. So I was listening to her, and this eclipse just jumped to mind. And I was like, wow, this is very interesting to see how people may change or be brought to having these jumps in faith that completely reroute their lives. And that is totally fine, because it is personal truth, right? This is part of this energy. What is my personal truth that aligns with my life and my path? So this is a little bit what I see with this energy, and this story is like very spot on, especially at the hairdresser.
I love that. And it is all about exploring your own personal truth, and with Mercury there, with communicating it just as she did. So yeah, that's a perfect example.
And we also have that sextile to Saturn that is going to be beaming. Can you show like that little sextile there?
Yeah.
Sun, Moon with Saturn involved. Well, this aspect for me gives us a possibility of self-observation. There is an invitation. It's a sextile, so it's not like a major energy. However, if we're reassessing beliefs, and for people who actually take the time to really observe, this is a really good aspect that can help the process of assessment, of grounded assessment of our thoughts. You know, it's like Mercury, Saturn thoughts are clear, are concise, they're not scattered, they're not messy. So it can help with this kind of clarity, like sharp focus of something that needs to be seen. So that's like a little sextile push. It's an invitation. It doesn't mean it's a big energy, but it's there supporting this, this, let's say, introspection, especially because during eclipses, this void of energy that happens, this taking out of the light, invites the inner journey, invites to see within for those who actually want to take that invitation. Otherwise, things just may happen. Things are taken away, things occur, and then we're forced to see, right, certain things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Saturn has sort of a kind of a measured energy to it, but it also has a suppressive energy to it. So it could go one of two ways. What either our expression of our beliefs is measured in a way, it's very clear and concise, and we're not stepping on anyone's toes, or it could feel like our voice is being suppressed and we don't have the ability to express how we really feel and what we really believe. We might feel there's some sort of external force, or even, you know, our own critical side that's stopping us from expressing what we really believe.
Yeah, and if that comes from the outside, then maybe it gives us the possibility to actually say, no, actually, I believe this and I stand by this, or I no longer believe in this and now I'm embracing this new thing. You know, that could be whatever, however it plays out, right? Mm-hmm. And we do have another, I mean, I kind of wanted to jump to the Mars, Jupiter, because this is really aligned with what we're saying. The Mars Jupiter and has that, and it's a square, so it could have that crusadum kind of energy, you know, like a little bit too forceful of the ideology being forced, you know, and maybe too much defending a point of view, that it could become a little bit forceful, because Mars has this exertion energy, this, you know, and Jupiter makes it big. So it could be like an over exertion of this energy. So that's something to be aware of if we are caught within these themes of defending a belief, you know, or maybe even that very forceful defense of a belief is what makes it precisely so evident that it then loses its power, maybe, right? It's all a possibility or a feeling inside. You might feel like you want to defend your beliefs, for sure. Mm-hmm.
I like your use of the term defensive beliefs, because it could be you that's acting in the Mars Jupiter way, kind of expressing your beliefs and perhaps accidentally trying to force them on others, or annoying people with them. Or it could be somebody else is acting out the Mars Jupiter and you are acting out more the Saturn side, and you're feeling oppressed by that individual, and you are like, no, hey, this is what I believe and I'm ending it there.
Mm-hmm. And then the boundaries, that's when the Saturn comes in as well. Like, where do you set the boundaries too? Right?
Totally.
Yes. So, and it's also in, you know, Jupiter and Mars are in fixed signs. So it can be very stubborn energy as well. It's a fixed sign. So it's like, I don't want to move from here. You know, it could be also seen as that. Whereas the Sagittarius being the more mutable energy, it's kind of wanting to push beyond, right? So it could be, this could be all playing out at the same time, you know. And then there we have, because now that we're talking about Mars, we do have the Mars trine Neptune. So this is where things get a little bit maybe different, or there's some kind of, again, this to me is always like this kind of spiritual crusadum energy, or like defending then even higher ideals, because as much as Jupiter is this like beliefs, with Neptune is that it's that we don't even know, we can't even control it. Is the divine. It's the realm where we are merged with everything, and Neptune in Pisces like exacerbates that idea of the spiritual. So there might be also spiritual energy coming through, you know, and making us make those jumps from like a higher vantage point. That's like one way of seeing it. How else would you see that one?
Yeah, Neptune brings on a compassion element and a sensitivity for others. And Mars is all about going and doing the thing, whatever it is, or fighting for a cause. So I could see this playing out as especially around this season. There's a lot of fundraising events going on. People kind of bringing up a cause, educating others about it. That's the Sun, Moon, Mercury. That would be, you know, sharing your beliefs with other people and educating them on such a cause. And then Mars, Neptune going out and raising the money, going out and doing whatever it is that raises the money too, perhaps running a marathon or some other form, but like a food drive, something like that.
I'm getting this image of, you know, when they take gifts to the children in hospitals. You know, that's that kind of energy of like getting to action and doing something that is it's comes from a place of deep compassion and love and understanding for others' needs, and actually doing it. Yeah, or even also just like defending your, maybe not defending, but asserting your own alignment with your own spiritual self. You know, that I feel that assertion energy when it comes from a true place of alignment. I always see with Neptune when it's like in this supportive aspects, like a trine, there's this like, okay, it's like an inspiration. Yeah, Neptune brings inspiration, and because Neptune is also sextiling Venus. So there, and Venus is sextiling Mars. So there's also that Venus key there that brings inspiration and beauty and grace. Venus always brings grace and softness. It's this nice, like pleasurable energy. So when there's this
connection with others,
and like nice friendships, beautiful connections that really come from the heart. I feel a lot of heart. As much as Venus is conjoined Pluto, so it's not just Venus, it's Venus Pluto. So let's hold on there. I'm just kind of
Pluto too.
It's not just Venus, it's Venus Pluto. So yes, there might be these connections that are very deep. And with Pluto there can be connections that are very transformative. There can be connections with Pluto. There's this intensity to relationship. There's this intensity, and maybe power dynamics might play out. However, because these sextiles are also active, you know, there might be a lot going on with relationships, with partnerships. And there could be the opportunity to transform maybe completely outdated shadow parts of ourselves that we see in the other. And I don't know if, well, like, what do you think about this Venus Pluto and how that relates?
It's interesting. I haven't necessarily combined Venus Pluto with the rest of the topics that we've discussed. I've put Venus Pluto off in a separate category for some reason. And yes, it would be a lot about exploring relationships that already exist and examining perhaps unhealthy dynamics, power dynamics, whether there's any form of manipulation going on, and really putting in the time and the effort to recognize that they're there and do something about it. But in terms of the rest, can you combine it?
Well, and also the Venus Pluto in its lower expression, again, it's a conjunction. It's just the energy of both planets is really strong, and it depends on our level of consciousness, how we want to express it. It could be like charm to get something that you want, you know, using charm to manipulate, you know. So all of that combined it depends how you're using this energy. If you're using it to see the shadow parts, to see what's not working maybe in a relationship, and maybe see the other, like yeah, as a means for transformation. I mean, Pluto always invites transformation through looking at, you know, the like the dark themes that need to be composted, that need to be flushed, because that's Pluto. It decays, it dies, and then all this bleh, and helps it move so that something new can be reborn. That's the nature of Pluto, is kill it and then something can come out of it. So yeah, relationships might be very active within this period of time, given that Venus is also the planet of relationship and also what we attract. So what are we also attracting, right? We could be attracting powerful people, maybe, that will help us advance in a certain way, depending on what area of your chart this falls. Like, there could be that as well, like attracting powerful people. It could be also related to money, because Venus invites value as well, what we value, what we love. So maybe money themes, you know, themes around money, about power and money could also come up. However, I do feel that with that trine to Neptune and that trine to Mars, there is a flow energy between those four planets, maybe bringing about again more spiritual energy that creates or illuminates maybe what needs to change. You know, possibly if you go, for example, if with a partner you decide to maybe explore more in the energy and, you know, more like tantric practices, for instance, and go that way and go deep into self-exploration with another in that way, using this Neptunian, you know, insights. And Mars also, you know, Mars also expresses sexuality, right? So there's all this interplay. How it's going to play out, I wouldn't know exactly for every person, but all these themes might be in the air. So
I could see kind of women's rights becoming at the forefront with Mars, Neptune, where our cause that we are fighting for is related to Venus, Pluto, kind of the subjugation of women, or putting that those fundraising efforts towards fundraising for a domestic violence shelter or something like that. I could see that kind of thing.
Yeah, again, these are themes and possibilities of the energy, and we choose how to express it. And yeah, clearly the best way to use this energy is for transformation of how we relate to, like, in our relationships, transformation in our value systems. You know, what do we truly value, right? Venus. Yeah, so that's that. And what else we have? Oh, we have Saturn square Uranus. So, and this one is like, this one's been going on since like already for a whole year. We've had this square and this tension between between Uranus and Saturn going, and this is the last pass of that conjunction that is very slowly creeping in, but we're feeling already the tensions. And I don't know if I mean, how is it playing out in the whole world, but we're seeing more restrictions outside in the world, given that there is this new Omicron variant, apparently. So there's all these new restrictions on flights, and you know, there's this theme that we've been seeing the whole year between freedom and lack of freedom and oppression, or the need to be free and at the same time the need to follow certain rules, this tension between Uranus, Jupiter. So we do have like a little image
Uranus, Saturn.
that I created for this. Oh, did I say, I said, yeah, Uranus, Saturn, sorry. Yeah, this is a little bit how I see that. I mean, that energy. I don't know, what do you see here, Dulcie, to explain this energy of Saturn, Uranus?
From my perspective, Uranus would be the bird kind of breaking free out of Saturn, the box, but still stuck. So not quite able to break free yet. We're still in that square, and I imagine as the two planets begin to separate, perhaps that bird will be a bit more free and able to leave the box completely. But
yeah, take the box to new heights.
Exactly, something different will happen. But yeah, it's the tension between wanting to keep things the same and wanting to have drastic change. Yeah,
and we've been seeing this like all year long with the restrictions, the masks, people fighting. A lot of, you know, these squares to Saturn, Uranus are usually people protesting on the streets. They want freedom. They want a change also, because Uranus wants us to free up something, to move beyond, but if it's not done also responsibly, that's where the Saturn comes in. There is also an element of responsibility and integrity for that freedom. Is that price of freedom, you know, like what does it take to be free? But then it's like it's like, you know, I would say like what Spider-Man says, with great power comes great responsibility. With great freedom comes great responsibility too. It's like you're only free until you step over somebody else. So it's all of this energy of, I need to be free, I need to be me, I need to be self-expressed and free. And then there's society. How do I move within society? So right now we're seeing the oppression. Saturn is making a lot of pressure to keep that bird in that box. And that bird is putting a lot of pressure to live that box. So this is the energy that we have been feeling. So if you resonate with that energy, like, please feel free to leave a comment. This has been going on, hopefully, as this, like you said, as they separate, you know, next year we'll start, like, this tension will start easing up, and we'll start finding more resolution and finding more peace to this extreme tension that we have been living with for like over a year.
Yeah, and as Jupiter goes into Pisces too, I imagine that sense of freedom and optimism will be a bit more abundant.
Yes, and yeah, who knows what will happen for Christmas, because this square goes exact on Christmas Day on the 24th. And we might have, for example, restrictions saying, no, you cannot travel, you can't see your families. That's an option, that's a possibility. We had that last year, and maybe something like that comes again, and people feel like, again, frustrated, or yeah. it could be at many levels, because it's also your personal sense of freedom versus your personal sense of responsibility. That's, again, it's an inner journey that we always see reflected. Obviously, because Saturn is a social planet, we deal more with the societal structures of authority. And Uranus, the transpersonal planet, which is something that is even beyond what we as little people might want. It's an evolutionary force that drives us. It just pushes to breaking those molds so we can move to the next thing. And it's like we as little people have like not much of a say other than feel it and react to it. This is how I see this, and I see astrology in general. So that is that. Dulcie, is there anything else you would like to add to our
No, that was a lot of fun, going through all of those transits, or that, yeah, going through all of those aspects for the new moon in Sagittarius. And I think it'll be a very interesting time with a lot of different kind of energies playing out all at once. So it'll be interesting to see how they are combined, or what kind of different scenarios play out separately. So definitely feel free to leave a comment if any of those themes are happening in your life. You know, what do they look like? We would love to know. And yeah, thanks for joining us. And thanks so much to Ren Butler and to James Moran for having us on Archetypal News Network. And we are so grateful.
So remember, like, if you'd like to reach us, we are Astrology Victoria BC, and we will leave a link below so you can find us.
Yeah. And yeah, join us for some casual astro chats online, or some presentations that we have by professional astrologers as well over Zoom. So we'll be posting those kind of events on our Facebook page and our meetup group page, and feel free to join us.
Okay, thank you very much, and we'll see you very soon.
Awesome. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you. Bye.